rusty wheels and knew I'd take her home. I brought her to my farm in an Amish neighborhood where simple living's valued. She'd be loved and understood. I put her on a treadle stand and coaxed her wheel to turn. I felt her joy and easing with my study and concern. I cleaned her and I oiled her, showed her off to all my friends, repaired the hurts of years and let her sew again.
Hello everybody, welcome back to this video. Will be the beautification of this Franklin machine. I'm going to talk in detail about the steps that I've done and what I still need to do to that machine. But first of all, over here I just pulled my last set of parts that I need to clean out of my evaporust, and the instructions on the evaporust container say when you're all done, pour what you have back in. So I put a little paint filter into my funnel, and I'm going to pour all this back into the container because, you know, waste not and all that stuff. But I wanted to tell you, after I get these out, rinse them off, you know, I need to dump that and clean it. I still have to clean and polish all of these parts. So this is like the intermediate step, but then I'm going to come over here using my polishing wheel, my Dremel with little wire brushes and things, and I'll get them nice and shiny. And at this point, that's what I have over here. And then big parts like this shaft, I have oil on there. Everything that I have cleaned off, I've put a coat of oil over it just so it does not in any way feel like it wants to go back and rust before I get a chance to put it back in the machine, okay? So, but this big shaft, a couple of the other major pieces, I did use my media blaster to clean because that was just the best way for me. But I think that that's really nice. Got in here where the pivot points go and everything because it was so badly rusted in there. Okay, so I'm over here at my main table and I wanted to show you the difference. So remember, these were totally rusted in place. I had to hammer them out, okay? This is as it comes out of the rust remover. So the rust is dead, but it's still kind of a mess. This one I've cleaned, okay? If I can get it to focus, so you can see there's, you know, some imperfections because, you know, it was completely encased in rust, but it's clean now, and that's going to move around like it should. So that's the difference there. And also yesterday I was at Harbor Freight, you know, my favorite stop, and I got one of these little guys. Okay, so I have my big rechargeable Dremel that I use all the time, but I saw this kit and it was on sale for $19.99, so, you know, I had to try it. And it came with all of this stuff, you know, polishing wheels, some wire wheels, that's the little tool. These things I don't really use that much on sewing machines, but they're fun for craftiness, you know. These I actually used sometimes in prepping a machine for painting. But it's a great, you know, gateway drug into the world of sewing machine tools. I think it's fabulous. You know, it's not super high powered, but for cleaning tiny little parts, it's all you need. So anyway, I just wanted to show you the difference between the, you know, the before was covered in rust. This is the middle and this is the after, and that's how it will be installed. So let's go back to the painting table. Okay, so back here at my painting and prep table. As you can see, I've done some stripping on here. I used my media blaster to strip the bottom and a little bit here because it was a mess. The bottom is going to be painted gloss black enamel, and then there's going to be new Singer decals down here on the bottom. It won't have the word Singer, but it's going to be their Memphis decals, which is another Egyptian motif. And I also stripped the balance wheel and did my best to polish the outside of it. It was very rusty. I think that's about as good as it's going to get. So I'm going to need to get that prepped too. But I want you to take a good look at this, because the decals on here, see how dark this is right here, okay? When you see me put the new decals on, they're going to be nice and bright and shiny, as new decals should be. But I did everything I could to this machine to brighten up these decals. They were brown, beautiful, but brown. And my problem is that if I left them just brown, when I put the new ones on the bottom, it would be such a striking contrast that it would really draw attention to the brownness of it. So it's not brown anymore, and I really hope that this is okay. But what I did is I took my super duper fine point gold metallic Sharpie. It's one of these paint gilded Sharpies. And I used it to do some strategic touch-up on the decals. You know, just certain parts, trying to brighten up areas, but not everything, so that when I put the new decals on, it's going to look okay. Now, on the machine itself, you're going to see these red splotches everywhere. All of that red is primer. This machine, it does not have the same paint as, say, a Singer would have. I don't know what their formula was. I don't know what they coated it with, but it wasn't the same as Singer, okay? And so because of that, you know, we have different painting techniques on it to begin with, so, you know, it is what it is. This is original. It's on the back, and I left it as original so that, you know, you can see how dark and everything that is, and then this I have touched. Okay, so, you know, it's all good, and I think it'll be fine. It's just a process. So what I need to do right now is get this machine masked off so I can paint the bottom, okay? I need to mask off the entire top part here, and these strips on the edges of where the slide goes. Ooh, I shouldn't be touching it with my greasy gloves. Those need to get masked off also, because we do not want any paint on here or inside this groove, because that just makes it really hard to get those slide plates on. So let me go ahead and get her masked, and I'll show you what she looks like when she's ready to paint. All right, so I am in the process of getting her masked up, and I wanted to show you, I am putting masking tape straight around the bottom here, so that I can put my bag over it. But instead of just putting this straight on, what I'm doing is kind of like putting it onto my apron here and then pulling it off so it's a little bit less tacky. You know, it'll be more like a Post-it note than masking tape, and that way I'm really confident I can put it on here, not worrying about my tape doing any damage, you know, like it could to what's remaining down here. And now I'm going to get another bag and go ahead and top it off and wrap it around up here. You can really see that red primer down here. I did not completely strip the bottom, but it's going to get some work to it. So what I'm doing is masking off just the bottom of this shaft here up a little bit, and then I'm going to shove a bunch of grocery bags into the cavity to fill up the rest of the space. But my little masking tape should keep that bottom from getting paint on it, because I am going to shoot black enamel down here too. It really needs it. I am finishing up masking my wheel, and for some reason my edges were just really whacked today. I think maybe I need to get a new razor blade out of the pack or something like that. So instead of taking everything off, I just have some pinstriping little, it's a vinyl tape, but I'm just running that around the edge to clean up that detail. Okay, and then we're going to call that good. I just need to, come on, mask off the center on both sides here, and that's also going to be ready to paint. Okay, so this is also ready to go into the booth. Even though it's iron, I am going to be using a self-etching primer on the machine, and since that's what I'm going to have out, I'm going to use it on this also. I usually use filler primers on iron machines, but since that has so much residual paint and stuff, I just think a self-etching primer with its, acidiness is going to actually hold a lot better to that stuff, so this will get it also. All right, so I've got it painted. I wanted to show you that's the primer that I used, and that is the glossy enamel that I used. Great stuff. Let's go into the booth and I'll show you what she looks like. Okay, so all of this area that's going to be visible has 2 coats of the black enamel. It looks really good. The underside has 1, and before I put that on, I did put the self-etching primer on. So I need to let this dry for quite some time. I will probably leave it in here overnight, and then tomorrow move it over onto my shelf so it can be curing on the shelf so I can use my booth for something else. But that's going to be it for this machine for a few days, and I'll check back with you soon. Okay, welcome to another day. I wanted to show you what I'm doing. Obviously the bottom is shiny and black. I haven't pulled my masking off yet, but on the original paint, and I've already started this, so let me see if I can find a bad spot here. You can see that this is what it looks like. It's kind of light. What I'm doing is I have some of the paint that I used down here, okay, and I've taken it, put it in a little cup, and I am using that in my airbrush just to come back and kind of touch up around the decals and everything to try to blend the two together. Let me see if I can do this and hold my phone at the same time, just so you can see. So it just puts a really light coat of paint on, not a huge thickness, but enough. Let's see here. Okay, that it's going to help it, be more blendy when I get everything done. So obviously I need to use 2 hands and a careful eye while I do this. So I'm going to put the camera down and I'll show you what she looks like when I'm done. All right, so it is time to work on their decals. These are decals from a Singer 127, which she's kind of like a clone of a 127. So I don't feel bad about putting those on at all, and I think they're really going to be pretty. I do have some extras because, when you buy these are from Keeler Sales or SingerDecals.com. They're really nice. They're metallic. They're really nice. Once I get those on, there is room up here. There's a little one that comes with this set that usually goes around the spool pin. If it looks like it would blend, I might put that one up there just to try to tie it together, but we'll see. Right now I have my little dish of water with some dish soap in it. I got these cut out, and I'm just going to start putting them on. So for this brand, they do slide with the paper off the back. So I got it wet. I'm just kind of setting it in place here. And once I can see that the decal has loosened up from the paper, then I can slide it off. And again, I do have a little bit of dish soap in my water. But this is a really long decal, so you want to wait and be very sure that it's ready to slide off. You don't want to force it because they can rip. So just hanging out, doing our thing. Okay, it's starting to come loose now, and I am just working it down all the way across. I like to set my paper just next to where the final placement is going to be. That seems to work out pretty well for me. This is a long one, so yeah. All right. Okay, so once that is off, when I still have plenty of water down here, I can go ahead and smooth it out and get its final placement. And once I know for sure that it is where I want it to be, then I'll come back with my little microfiber cloth and clean up some of this water and try to smooth out the decal. And that's it. So let me get this one done, and then I'll just continue all the way around the machine. Okay, I wanted to show you, this is what she looks like. I did go ahead and put the little spool pin emblem on here just to tie it together. And looking at it, I want to come back with my gold marker here and do a little bit more on the original decals so I can kind of try to tie it together. Because if I trip her this way, you can kind of see, yeah, it's okay, but I don't know. I'm going to sleep on it. That's what I'm going to do, because I need to let these decals totally rest and set for a while. This up here, it's always a little hard putting a decal on a curved surface, but I'm just pressing out those little notches there. So I'm going to think about it. Where the decals don't fit exactly, like right here, once they're totally dry, I'll come back with my razor blade and cut off the little excess that's in this slide plate area, that kind of thing. But all in all, I think that she's looking pretty good. Pretty good for an old girl who has just had a massive facelift. So she still is going to need to get clear coated. Oh, I didn't show you her wheel. This is her wheel. You know, it still has the masking in the middle. But she still needs to get clear coated. I need to wait until after all of this is set before I can take her in the booth to do that. But, you know, looking at it on camera right now, I think it's okay the way it is. I don't want to do too much up here that I take away the integrity of the original decals, and I think that's okay. Yeah, I'm going to call that good. Okay, so welcome back. It's been a couple days. She has her clear coat on. These marks down here, that is in the metal itself of the machine. I guess it was something when they were milling the machine, that's what made those marks. You know, they're not bad. But I wanted to show you how she's looking. This is the back. And you can see the new decals and the old decals here. I think that's kind of cool. Like there. So that's going to be it for this video. Hope you liked it. I am waiting for some parts to come in before I can finish reassembling her. So in the meantime, I'm going to put her on my shelf so that her clear coat can completely cure and get really hard. And that way I'll be a lot safer when I start, you know, using tools around her. So hope you liked it, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.